With more and more people wanting to become psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners, it makes you wonder, how does one stay competitive, especially when applying to top schools? And in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 different tips to help you, yes you, make sure your application is competitive. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Psych Dude family. It's good seeing each and every one of you guys today. So you probably clicked this video because you're interested in applying to Psych NP school and you're trying to make sure your application is as competitive as possible, especially with more and more people wanting to become Psych NPs. It's crazy how many people want to become Psych NPs. People from different specialties as RN want to be Psych NPs. People with other F&P degrees or F&P certifications, AGNP certifications, women's health certifications, even midwife certifications. More and more people are wanting to become Psych NPs because they love the social and mental health aspect of the care. Yes, they can provide both sides of the care. So it makes you wonder, how are you going to stay competitive, especially when you don't have any of these other certifications? Well guys, you're in luck. And in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 tips to help make sure you're competitive before applying to Psych NP school. And if you guys are new to this channel, let me formally introduce myself. I'm the Psych Dude. I'm a board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. And in this channel, I go over several different subjects to educate the public about mental health, ways to improve your lifestyle, topics related to nursing, nurse practitioners, and specifically psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners like myself. If you are interested in any of these topics, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and follow me on Instagram at THEPSYCHDUDE. So without further ado, let's get started on my 5 tips to help you stay competitive when applying to Psych NP school. So my very first tip to make sure you're competitive when applying to Psych NP school is focus on your undergrad grades, or focus on your entry-level master grades, or just get another master's. But for the most part, you want to be able to focus on your grades. This is a huge thing. You could have all of the experience in the world, but if your grades are crap, more than likely you're not going to get in. So it's one of those things, you want to be able to focus on your grades. My grades going into Psych NP program, it's pretty highly competitive program. It weren't that great, but at the same time, it was doable and it was manageable and competitive. I had a 3.7 and I used that GPA to get into my program. Yes, there's other variables associated with it, but a 3.7 wasn't that bad compared to other people's GPAs. So you always want to make sure you focus on your grades. If you know you want to become a Psych NP prior to even being an RN, make sure you buckle down and get good grades during that program. And if you're already an RN and you're trying to figure out what's the best way, maybe you can take in other classes. Maybe you can get another degree just so you can kind of pair that along with your nursing degree to get better grades. And if you're an ADN, get a good BSN. Get a good GPA during your BSN program, just because you could use that also. But it's extremely important because some schools won't even take you if you don't have a certain amount of GPA. And let's face it, during nursing school, it's extremely hard. But at the same time, you kind of have to just buckle down and do what you need to do to get into the program, because at the end of the day, they want to make sure you're qualified in order for you to pass the program, and that's what they're looking for. So my second tip is make sure you focus on the GRE. So you want to be able to focus in on the GRE. Yes, there's some programs that don't require it, but there are other programs that do require it, and sometimes you might be required, or you might have the option of entering your GRE scores just to kind of give you, well, it gives you a better chance of getting in, especially if you focused on the GRE and you did well. Some people, I would highly recommend, especially if you have a lower GPA, that you focus in on the GRE, because it kind of gives you a different opportunity to gain some of that well, some of those points that you need in order for you to get in. And if you kind of coming in with low GRE scores and a low GPA with tons of experience, that's not necessarily going to give you a one up compared to someone that had a good GPA, someone that had a good GRE score with maybe less years than you. More than likely, they're probably going to get in over you. So it's one of those things you want to be able to focus in on it. A lot of people think it's like, oh, it's just a GRE. I just need to get a minimum score to pass. But you want to be able to get a good enough score because you don't want to take that chance of someone beating you, especially with all of those things going on. So my third tip is be extra, meaning do things that are outside of the box. Make sure you join groups like APNA. Make sure you go to different conferences. Make sure you're more active in the community, especially with all of the things going on, because admissions board people, they actually look at all of these things. They don't just look at GPA scores, your experience. They look at everything. And if you're involved in the community, more than likely it's going to help you out way more than some other things. So you want to make sure you're joining APNA, making sure that you join all these associations, make sure you're actually involving yourself within these groups, and just be extra. And it's always going to be a good thing rather than bad. You always want to be able to do more than the minimal. So if you can actually add these on top of what you're doing, it can actually give you that boost to be better, or give you that boost over someone else that might not have all of the things, especially when someone's looking at both applications. Everything is pretty much the same. Just by knowing that you're involved in helping our community grow, helping our profession grow, more than likely they're going to help or choose you over the other person. So it's definitely always a good thing to be extra. So my fourth tip is try to be an educator, meaning you're either being a teacher, or you're being a clinical instructor, or you're a CPR instructor, something that has to do with education. And the reason why I say this is because it stands out. When educators see other educators, they love the fact that an educator is interested in their program, and they might be able to take them on and bring them on in the actual facility or the university. So you want to be able to show them like, okay, this person can educate, he already has an experience. And that's what we do honestly on a daily basis. As a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, I educate patients every single day, every single visit, whether they're a new patient or existing patient. I educate them every single time I see them, whether it's on sleep hygiene, whether it's on the medication, whether it's on a side effect, whether it's on their diet. There's so many things I have to educate them on, and the fact that your previous educator, that's just going to make sure that your application is above everyone else, because they know that you're able to educate, and that you know that you're able to actually do the job that we are doing on a daily basis. So the fifth and final tip that I have is make sure you get experience, especially experience in psych. So getting experience is the number one thing, especially when applying to any single program. You want to be able to get experience. I say yes, it's good to get experience in med-surg. Yes, it's good to get experience in the ER. Yes, it's good to get experience in the ICU and all of these different places. But you want to make sure you get experience in psych. You can have the highest grades. You can have all of these accolades. But if you don't have experience in psych, how are they going to justify that you're going to be good in psych? Are they just maybe thinking like, oh, maybe this person's just coming into it because they want to go into a field that they know they can get jobs in? And it's one of those things you always have to take in consideration, and you always have to make sure that you're competitive over everyone else. Even if you have 6 months to just a year of experience in psych, it's going to put you way above someone that has no experience in psych. I've had so many people telling me that they didn't get into the Psych NP program, and when you're looking at all of their stuff, it's like, okay, their grades are good. Their experience within nursing is pretty good. Their accolades are good. But when you look at more in depth through their experience, they're like, oh, they don't have any psych experience. And that's kind of where they're dumbfounded when they don't get into the program, because they have good GPAs, they have good scores, but they don't get into the program. It's honestly, it's going to be about experience, and experience is the biggest thing that a lot of people look for. In my program alone, just talking to some of the directors, they didn't admit people because they never had any experience, or they'd rather admit someone with 4 years of experience in psych as opposed to someone with 5 years of experience in med surg that have top grades. They'd rather do someone in psych because they know they're going to stay in psych. And I wish it weren't like that, but at the same time, I'm glad it's like that, because you have to get experience in the thing that you're going to be going into. Honestly, those people, even if they don't have a background in psych, try to get something. Try to be a counselor, try to do social work, or try to do something. Just at least get some mental health experience. I think this is the biggest tip, especially when it comes to applications, because they're gonna take you, especially if you have really good experience, outpatient experience, inpatient experience, behavioral health, urgent care experience, any of those things, they're gonna take you. Compared to someone that just has strictly ER. Yes, we deal with stuff in the ER as a psych patients, but at the same time, it's ER experience. They're not necessarily looking at this as psych experience, and some schools are starting to go away from that and just taking people that have strictly psych experience. And if you do get into a program, sometimes the preceptors might not even take you. I've looked at applications where they have no psych experience, and I'm extremely hesitant, and I'd rather choose someone that has experience. And honestly, that's what I'm doing. Not to be mean, but at the same time, I need to know that they can actually take care of a psych patient. Well, it's one of those things, you know, you never know exactly, but I'm glad that I was able to share all of these things, and I hope this video was great and provided you with some knowledge, some background, and honestly, go out there, just apply for these programs and do amazing. Well guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day. I hope you use some of these tips when you're applying to your program, because I know it's going to be extremely helpful. And yeah, like I said, get experience. That's the #1 thing, okay? Experience, experience, experience. Alrighty guys, have a wonderful day. As always, I'll see you next time. Bye!